She is an outreach coordinator for Horizon House, which is a resource center providing local adults with mental health, addiction recovery, and other services. But you may know her as the cantor at Holy Family Catholic Church at the 8 o'clock Mass, which is where I know her. Please welcome Vera Crowl. Point at me when you get down.
Okay, big old tall step, big old tall mic, damn. How y'all doing? This theme about making it is true to my heart. Oh, freedom, oh, freedom. Hey, I'm going to start my story by telling you about my cruise. In December of 2017, I went on my first cruise ever, and oh my God, standing out, looking over the ocean, I see the ocean as a reflection of God's power. I see a lot of things as a reflection of God's something. And I lived in California for over 20 years, and I loved the beach, but I was not getting in all that water. Whales get thrown around in that water. I'm not doing it. Standing out, I don't know, first couple of nights on ship, I was like a 2-year-old, oohing and ahhing about everything. It was just gorgeous. And I was trying to figure out how I'm going to get in that casino and avoid the bar. See, I don't drink alcohol anymore. You'll understand that a little later. While I was standing up looking at the gorgeousness of God's power in all that was, as far as you could see, by the time I was looking, it was just all water. And I got to thinking about stuff. Who'd have thunk I'd be here, embracing so much beauty? See, from the time I was about 4 years old, my brother was molesting me, and my parents didn't know, I didn't tell, and my parents were very social people. They threw these great big parties, waves of 12 people at a time for dinner, and then they would just disperse around the house for cards and dominoes and dancing and records and whatever. And they would say, Vera's so cute. She's just so cute. Give her a little drink. And when I had that little drink, all that ugly, dirty feeling about what was happening to me that shouldn't have been just dissolved, just went away. So I didn't know at 4 that I was an alcoholic, but what I knew was that I didn't have that ugly feeling anymore. So this went on for a few years. My brother molested me until I was about 11 and a half, and I know that time because he pissed me off about something and I decked him. But it was all the rage about all that other stuff that made me deck him. He was a few heads taller than me, but I reached him and I decked his ass. He fell backwards into the dirty clothes hamper. I love that scene to this day. Anyway, through up into high school, you know, I went out with my friends like everybody gets to go out with their friends. And in my growing up, blatant disobedience was really not much of an option, because when my parents whooped your ass, they were not playing. They were not playing. They had a combination of leather belt, and remember those little skinny electrical cords? I see a little bit of gray hair out there. Y'all remember them, right? And you was butt naked, bent over the side of the tub. They were not kidding. And I never did that thing again, but somehow I got a lot of them whoopings for something or another. So blatant disobedience was not really an option. And I would not tell when my brother did things, because in my little girl mind, I was scared they'd kill him. So a little while on into my life, I'm in high school, and I'm going out and partying with my friends, and every now and then we would drink, but not very often, because I was terrified of going home and getting in trouble. I was always afraid of getting in trouble, because it always ended in a whooping, and I just didn't like that. And when the time I was 18, I went 100 miles away from home, far enough to keep them out my ass, but close enough to go home if I needed to. Perfect. It was also the freedom to drink without them saying I can't do that. First fraternity keg party, oh my God, I had so much fun. See, it was fun. It was fun at that time. I had no idea it was a problem. Never forget another scene I don't really like remembering, but I ran through that fraternity house, hit the front rail, and bent over and let it all out. And went in, rinsed my face, washed my mouth out, and went to get me some more beer, because that shit was fun. I could laugh, I could dance, I could feel free, because at home I didn't feel any of that. I ended up leaving, and when I went to college the first time, I proceeded to major in drinking and drugging. Not any of the stuff my parents saw on paper. So they stopped paying for school, and I went back to St. Louis and partied my brains out. I worked, I could hold a job. I held all kinds of jobs. At 27, I left Missouri and moved to California. I really went insane then, but it was still fun. I thought it was fun. I didn't realize it was a problem. I was back in St. Louis. I was going out dancing Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday night, drinking, drugging, snorting, having a ball, or so I thought. So by the time I get back, by the time I get out to California, I'm a seasoned professional at this shit. I could function in it. I could afford it. I could do what I wanted. So I did. By the time I started to get sick, I started to grow a brain. Started to realize this is a problem. And I met the man, the love of my life, to whom I'm married today. He's not able to be here. What I understand today is that when God put this man in my life, we both needed somebody. And at this point in his life, we both need somebody. He's very ill. He's got a lot of issues, a lot of medical issues, and it's okay. I take care of him. It's not the easiest thing I've ever done. Sometimes I wonder if God is punishing me, but my pastor keeps telling me God is not a punishing God, Vera. So I say, okay. And I do the best that I can. As I'm standing on this cruise ship thinking about all of this stuff, I realize how blessed I am. How many times when I was out there I could have been dead. I've had guns held up to my head. I have fought like a man. I don't have enough sense today to be scared of another human being. I'm scared of me. I'm scared of eternal separation from God. But I've been through so much. But today I find myself so deeply grateful. I have a relationship with my mother that I thought would never happen. We just lost Daddy in May. And they were married 71 and a half years. Yeah. Yeah. Huh. I brought her with me. This is actually an outfit of my mother's I have on. I think that God brought my husband and I to Richmond because this is where he chose to save my life. In 2005, I experienced God's call to serve him by serving others who had been broken like me. And that's exactly how I experienced it. I want you to serve me by serving others who have been broken like you. I had no idea what to do with that, so I did nothing. A couple of weeks later, my mother called me and said, I got this letter from someplace called the University of Dayton talking about a new scholarship for the children and grandchildren of permanent Catholic deacons. Now, my daddy is his own story. He was uneducated, moved to St. Louis, saw my mother, prayed for that woman to be his life, got that prayer answered, and worked two, watch my lips, full-time jobs for 33 years while they put us through school, helped us through all our ridiculousness. So I said, no, Mama, the grandkids don't want to move to Ohio. Send me that letter, though. I think I want to see it. So she sent it to me, and I called the University of Dayton, and I said, you ain't going to believe this. If I tell you what I have to say over the phone, you'll probably block my number. So I need you to give me directions over there. So when somebody tells you that they're going to block your number, I don't know why they would give me directions, but they did. I'm thinking, yeah, they crazy. This is where I need to be. So I went over there, and the then assistant dean of the school of, Lord, I can't think of it. She said to them, well, if we're anything that we say we are, we have to tell her about the praxis test and let her try. So they told me about the praxis test, and I stood there listening like I knew what the hell they was talking about. And I came back to Richmond and did that, passed that, and ended up in school at the University of Dayton. Oh my God. The fact of being on a campus was a trigger. All them drunk kids were triggers, but I didn't drink. I graduated in 2008 with a bachelor's. I graduated in 2012 with a master's. And what I know today is that all the harshness of my childhood, that did not cause me to be an alcoholic or an addict. I did that shit because I liked getting high. And all of the work that I did to get better, to get well, that was my preparation to do what I do now. I love my work. I'm working to help others try to get well, sometimes whether they want to or not. I love the fact that God brought me to Richmond, and I thank y'all for letting me be here, because at first I felt like a big outsider. Richmond is a little bitty town. We can fit everybody in Richmond in the ballpark in St. Louis and still have 5,000 empty seats. So I'm thinking, God, what the hell have you gotten me into? I mean, I got all kinds of strange stories about my experience of Richmond. It took me a while to get used to it. How much time do I have?
Negative 2 minutes.
Oh, well, I'm here, and I'm grateful, and that's the bits and pieces of my story and how I ended up here, and I tell y'all that I love you. What? Oh, finish with the cruise ship. They say finish with the cruise ship. Oh, yeah. They want me to finish with, and this is true. One of the pieces about going on a cruise is the seasick part. Well, I didn't think about that, and people were saying, you need to get them little Dramamine patches. And I said, well, Dramamine gets you high. I don't want that shit. And they said, and they said, no, Vera, you got to have them or you're going to be miserable. But if you put it on, you won't feel high, you won't feel anything, and you won't be sick. And I'm okay. So I go and I get the little Dramamine patches, and I slap it on, and I have a ball for 8 days on this cruise. Well, by the last day of the cruise, the thing finally just kind of slides off my neck. I mean, it'd been through showers, hot tubs, pools, you know. And it came off, and I thought, well, this is cool. We're on our way back. And somebody said, don't forget to put your last patch on. And I said, why? And they said, the sea is rough. I said, how long's that been going on? Because I still had this thing on. I didn't believe them. I'm walking down one of the hallways, tiny little hallways on this ship, and all of a sudden what was here felt like it was right about there. And I thought, oh shit, this is seasickness. Nobody told me that being seasick felt exactly the same as being high. I couldn't get to that patch fast. I almost snatched a patch off a little old lady. Give me that shit. You rich. You probably got more. But that was old behavior, and I did not do that. I want to thank y'all for listening to my story.